In this interview, I speak with Gabriella Johnson Wynne, who is affectionately known as Gabby among her friends. Now, Gabby is originally from Belmont in St. George, but she lives in New York in the United States. I was scrolling through Facebook, and there I saw a post by Gabby about tarot card readings. And I was like, oh, Gabby does this? And light bulb went off because I'm like, this is someone I know who does this. Exciting. I always wanted to understand, what do you see, what the cards mean, and stuff like that. So I reached out to her. She responded. And here is our conversation about what she does. Some call it psychic. Some call it spiritual healing. She says she is helping people.
I came to the US actually on vacation with plans of going to England. Met someone, fell in love, and here I am.
Oh gosh, I can hug you.
So I never got to England, which, you know, if my cousin sees this, she'll know. Like, she was not happy about it, that I decided to stay here.
Love wins the day.
Yes.
Did you go to school to study anything specific, or?
Yes, so I went back to school for accounting,
Okay.
and which was actually my regular day job. And then I actually went back to school for aromatherapy, because at one point I decided I wanted to be an aromatherapist.
Ah, how long did you do accounting for?
I want to say 10 years.
And aromatherapy on the side. Do you do soaps? Did you do oils? What did you do?
I did blends.
Okay.
So I would actually just I will combine, for those who don't know what, a blend is,
Mm-hmm.
I would combine specific oils and get a specific scent. And I would say, this is for energy and this is for calming. It's kind of like you're burning a calming candle or energy candle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it would be in a roller, oil, with a roller.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what do you do now full time?
So now I do tarot card readings.
Okay.
I do Akashic Record readings, and I do Shamanic Healing.
Okay.
And some Reiki, of course, for those of you. Yes, I do Reiki as well. So
okay, so explain to me all those things.
Okay.
Quick, in as short as possible. As succinct as possible.
That's hard for me.
Just take your time. Okay, let's go.
All right. So the shamanic healings are pretty much you're doing what we call a soul retrieval. Everyone has some sort of issue with your soul. When you have like let's say, you break up with your boyfriend, you have some sort of hurt. You lose this is what the Native Indians believe. You lose a piece of your soul with that hurt, with that damage. Right? So when you come to me and you're like, okay, I'm having this issue, it does not necessarily have to be you broke up with your boyfriend. It just be because you have that damage, things are not working the way they should be working. Suddenly just feel more lazy, you just feel out of whack. Let's put it that way. You come to me and I do what we call a soul retrieval, which is I bring that missing piece back to you so you feel whole again.
How do you do that? Oh, you can't let that out.
Can't really let all of it out, but pretty much what you do is you travel and you speak to that person's soul, pretty much in a nutshell. You speak to that person's soul, mm-hmm. and you pretty much say to the soul, like, this is where you belong, and you bring that soul back. It's the easiest way I could say, but you do have to you will have to a lot of the times remove some sort of block or something that the person has, because the way energy works, for one piece to be removed, another piece has to come in. Like, it's like you have a bucket of water, right? And there's like a leak happening at the bottom of the bucket, but at the top you have like a tap just flowing, constantly flowing water, replacing that water.
So
right?
there is never a hole. It's always filled up.
Right.
There's no
So,
space. It's
right.
always,
So
yeah.
if a piece of that water is gone, you have to put back something. So a
Mhm.
lot of the times when a piece of your soul is gone, something negative comes in. It's not really something positive that comes in to replace that. And then that causes the block, and as it, time goes by, it gets a little stronger or it gets worse. If you wanna.
And you said tarot card readings. How do you do that? And how do you like? Well, I should say how you do that, but
Okay, so tarot cards are pretty much cards like regular, like let's say like a plain deck of cards.
Mhm.
And each card has a specific meaning. There's symbols on the cards. I actually have a deck right here in front of me. I thought I'd kind of show you guys.
Uh-huh.
And there's symbols on the cards, and you learn each meaning of the card. And all cards always tell a story. So when someone would come to me for a tarot card reading, of course you have to use some intuition with the cards.
Mhm.
All right, but I look at that person, or I take the person's name, I shuffle like you're shuffling a regular deck of cards.
Mhm.
And there are different spreads. You can do like a 5-star spread, a comic spread, or you could just pull cards. It just depends on where you are, what level you're at. And I pull those cards and I say, okay, this card means this, so it would mean, a new man, a new beginning is happening for you. So a new man, like let's say we're looking at love, a new man is coming in. All
Ooh.
right. And then this card, it's really a man. And it might be like the King of Pentacles, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is the guy you want to be with. He's traditional. He has dark hair, like that. And I describe that guy, the exact meaning of that card I describe. The only difference is I'm making it a movie. Tarot card readings are pretty much, it's a movie. It's a beginning, it's a middle, and it's an ending.
Cool.
And you put it all together. And that's it.
So it's 3 cards. It's 3 cards that you pull. Is that it?
No, it depends. Sometimes I pull 5.
Okay.
It just depends on the spread. Sometimes I pull 9 cards. Sometimes I'll just flow.
Mm.
I'll flow where I'll say, okay, I'm gonna just take a look at what's gonna happen for you in the year, and I just pull cards. And so it's a story. So I know at a certain card, when I get to a certain card, I'm like, okay, this is your past. There's one specific card I know, right? Because you have to connect with your cards. You have to know your cards, understand your cards.
Okay.
So when I get to that card, I'm like, okay, this is the past, and from now on, this will happen next month, like that. And in tarot card readings, sometimes you can go and get a reading, and the person might say this might happen in a month, and it doesn't happen in that month, but it might happen in 6 months. A lot of the times, it's a delay, but that delay is on your behalf. The reason why that delay is happening, like let's say you were supposed to meet a guy and you're supposed to meet him at the club. You decided to not go to the club. Whose fault is that? Right? You didn't go to the club that night. Right? So one of the things that, and a lot of tarot card readers do not say, and it kind of confuses people, is you have to remind people that when you give the reading, you say, if you stay on the path that you're on, because you can switch your path. So what you want to do. Do you want to go left or right? You could be like, I'm going left. Change my mind. I'm going to go right. It's hard as humans to do that. It's really hard to change your frequency, but you can do it. You know what I mean? It's like you wake up today and you say, you know what? I'm tired of wearing natural hair. I'm going to perm my hair. And it may take you 2 months to perm your hair. And so you go for a reading and the person goes, yeah, I see you perming your hair next month. Well, you plan to do it next month, but you're like, wait, no. And then,
So
because, you've been wearing your hair
it doesn't
natural.
matter what the tarot card reader tells you. You in the end have to make the choice.
Yes, it's all up to you. It's your choice. It's your destiny. So you can change it.
Understood.
Get off the path. But it's just we as humans, it's really hard for us to kind of get off the path. It's kind of like you're losing weight. It's hard to get off the path. You're like, okay, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do it. But losing weight is not easy. It's a difficult thing. You know what I mean? Like you have to work out. You have to eat properly. And then Christmas comes around and you're like, oh gosh, the black cake. And
then Easter comes around.
Right. And then Easter comes around and it keeps going like that. And next thing you know, we're in summer and you're out having drinks. And that's, it's hard is what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
And that's the tarot. And the Akashic Records pretty much is very similar. I use the pendulum with the Akashic Records. Everyone has an Akashic record. Pretty much, it's like a library. Like when we used to go to the library and whisper. So you go into into a library, and it has like a person's file, and that file has all of your lives. All right, because your soul has many lives, right?
I understand.
So you go into that person's Akashic record and you read, okay, this is what's happening. Or I tend to do with the Akashic records, I do something called a soul realignment. Pretty much similar to the soul retrieval, except I'm using the Akashic records. So one is Native Indian and one is not. That's
so what is Akashic? That's what, Tibetan or what?
I don't know. You're gonna have to.
Okay, so and Reiki. I know Reiki.
Right. So Reiki, everyone is learning Reiki.
Yes.
I think that I used to be into Reiki. That is what like first got me here into the healing. That was the first modality I learned. The Reiki healing, and from the Reiki healing, I went into like crystal healing. So I was combining Reiki healing with crystal healing. I don't use Reiki so much because Reiki kind of works more on the emotional body, right? We have several different energy bodies, and I feel like it works more on the emotional body. So I use it, but I don't use it so much. But I will say, when you get attuned to Reiki, your energy system, your chakras, all of that, it opens up. It really opens you up. Like you feel, it will be the middle of winter and you would feel really hot. Like you're like, something's wrong, because everybody else is cold, but you're like, good. It's because the base chakra is so open wide with Reiki. And I feel like I can say that Reiki has helped to change my life. I feel like if I was not into Reiki, I got attuned to Reiki and started practicing Reiki, I don't think I will be here. The issue with it was I wanted more. You understand? Like I wanted another level.
Did you ever have interest in that before? Like in Grenada, did you
Yes. So when I lived in Grenada, I was into horoscopes. I think everyone kind of
just read it and giggle, right? What does my horoscope say today?
My mother was definitely against it in the beginning. And at one point she said, okay, you know what? Look, you're into this thing. And she used to call it the devil thing. You're into this devil thing, but all right, then I'll let you do this. And she used to buy me a book every year. I think it was Sydney Omar's horoscope book for my sign. And I would read like what would happen. Of course, it wasn't matching up every day.
Yes.
Because, the truth is, astrology, when you do astrology, you have to look at your ascendant sign and not your sun sign. But most of us we don't know that, especially in the Caribbean. They don't put on our birth certificates the time we were born.
Yes.
Our ascendant.
Yeah.
You have to do like a chart rectification to get that, which I had to do. So I'm a talker because I'm a Gemini ascendant, but I'm shy because I'm a Cancer sun. So it's kind of like a day and night thing. Once I start talking, you got me. Okay. All right. So it wasn't matching up at first. And I wasn't understanding everything. But I started going more and more. And I feel like I want to say this happened to me when I got that, she agreed to it. I want to say it was when either I was 14 or I was 15. It was actually when I started. I think I was 15. I think when I started convent. I think that's when it all.
I have nothing to say.
That's when it started. So I was definitely into that. But I was very curious about tarot.
Okay.
Because, where I lived, it wasn't available. Having the cards.
Nobody talked about. I didn't know about that until later on.
Right.
And because of my upbringing, it seemed as it was devil thing. Okay.
Correct.
And so you don't touch those things.
Yes.
But as you curious, I'm like, what's this all about? Where does it come from? What's the history? So that's me. Right. I love history, so I want to find out where it comes from, who used it before, that sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah. So what happened was when I came to New York on vacation, with my cousin, who is now a Jehovah's Witness. She brought me to Coney Island in Brooklyn, and there was a psychic there. And she's like, let's go to the psychic. And the psychic used cards. She used the safe tarot cards. And that, it amazed me. I never forgot about it. I mean, nothing she said, you know.
That's the
just
thing.
happened.
That's the thing.
It amazed me. So fast forward, at this point I was working at the bank, and they brought a circus. I don't know if you remember that year they brought the circus to Grenada.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Maybe I wasn't in Grenada, but
Maybe not. Right, maybe not. So I was like 22 maybe, or 21, somewhere there. They brought the circus to Grenada, and that circus had a tarot card reader, and I went. And I like to say it was the worst tarot card reading I ever got, but it was the best. Here's why it was the worst. The guy gave me some bad news. The news was my mother was going to pass, and my mother had 3 months to live. So that was the bad news. Like, I never recovered, like, after that reading. But everything else he said, that I was going to move, you know, once my mother passed, I was going to move. Everything that he said, I want to say up until I want to say 27. He read up to like 27. Happened. It really did happen. So I guess I stayed on the path.
okay.
Right? So that,
But
when I
wait, was it mind? Were you mindful of it? Did you think of it, or afterwards you started doing this, you remembered him? Did you think about it?
Okay, so the mother part, of course, I remember that. And I remember going home and saying to my mom, like, this is what he said. And she's like, girl, you and the sharpness, and, you know, like that. And I also remember, you know, when the time came down to it, and I said, you see, it really is 3 months. He was right. And she goes, yeah, I guess he was right. You know, and then she died like 2 days later. But he was right. But after that, no, I just kind of, just lived. And then I went back and I'm like, oh God, he said this, so this happened, like that. So I wasn't trying to live what he was telling me. No, unless it was somewhere, But some of the things that he predicted, they were not good things. So I would not say that I would live my life for that to happen. You know what I mean? I definitely, if I could change that somehow, of course I would. Some of the things that he said, you know what I'm saying? But the good things, yeah. So yeah, no, I went back and I was like, yeah, he said that. So that made me more into it. So I went and I bought me I have a friend, Raquel, and we've been friends since we were 3. And we went to a store and I seen the deck. I seen this a beginner's tarot. Like, what the hell? I'll buy it. I bought it, brought it home, and the guy I was dating said, what kind of Obia thing is this? So I put it away and I never used it until we broke up. I moved out and I went into the storage room. And I said, what the hell is this? And I looked and it was that. And I said, okay, you know what? I really wanted to learn this thing and I'm going to learn it. And I sat there and I went through that book and I used the cards. And I started offering people, hey, I'm practicing this thing. Do you want to try? And everything I told them actually came true. And that's what made me start it. Like, I did it more and more and more. And then I started charging for it.
This is interesting. So you basically practice spirituality, right?
Yes.
What church did you grow up in Grenada?
The Methodist.
What do your family say? No, your mom is gone, but what do your family say?
So my family is definitely against it. You know, they pray for me all the time. I mean, pray for me all the time. They feel like I am in something more towards the devil, demonic. They think, you know, they always say, like, you know, entities are tricky. They're right. Entities are tricky. And so they just feel like I should not be involved with this. And they always pray for me. And listen, I'm glad for the prayers. All I'm saying is say positive things in the prayers because your tongue, right, is powerful.
Has power. Yes.
So all I want is that you can pray all you want. So I said to my aunt, when she was pretty much telling me, pretty much I'm against this, and you have to be careful and satanic and blah 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 blah. I said to her, look, this is the happiest I've been in my life. When my mother passed, I lost a part of me. Of course, I had some other things that happened that don't want to talk about. But when my mother passed, I'm an only child. This was my best friend. Sorry, Raquel, but this was my best friend.
Yeah.
So,
I understand.
So it was very hard. I was 22. I mean, now I know that at 22 you don't know anything. You think you do, but you really don't.
No, you don't.
So I always looked for like that. I wanted to feel happy. Alcohol wasn't doing it. Partying wasn't doing it. Guys were, none of those things were doing it. I really was, more into alcohol and partying. And it wasn't until I started doing the tarot and started reading for other people and seeing like, oh, people are like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. Like, I wanted to know if I should quit this job or, just that type of stuff. Should I leave my husband or not? Or it gave me that happiness. It just made me feel at peace. Like, so I say that to my family all the time. Like, I understand what you're saying. I agree with you. I do healing work, so I know entities are tricky. Entities pretend to be other people. They do that. Like, I would try to heal you, and I'm like, oh, do you know a girl? And it would be a girl that you had some sort of drama with, but it's the entity doing it, and not really the girl, but the entity is making it like it's the girl. So I get what you're saying, but it's the happiest I've ever been. So if I stop living this life, what do I have?
I understand. So how do you prepare for the day? How do you clear yourself? How do you cleanse yourself? How you prepare yourself to deal with all these entities and people? And then when you deal with all these entities, how do you clear yourself to deal with you and your family?
Okay, so first thing, one of the things I had to, I shouldn't say I had to, I just kind of stopped, is alcohol, right? When you drink alcohol, don't get me wrong, I do have a drink, guys. I still drink my wine and stuff like that. All right. But I just don't.
Rivers.
Yeah. But I don't drink the way I used to, right? I have control. Okay. So one of the things, when you drink alcohol, it weakens your systems. I mean, not just your body, your energetic systems as well. And because of the work I do, of course, I'm going to have more attention from those realms, from the entity realms. More attention is placed on me because of what I do. If I'm going around making sure I get rid of entities, guess what? I'm enemy number whatever it is.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So when I'm at my weakest point is the best time to attack. So one of the things I had to kind of cut out was that. But pretty much the average day I wake up, which is really hard to do because my husband does not like sage. And I sage myself. I do sage, I do cedar wood, and you put it in like a abalone shell. It's a shamanic ritual that you do because a shaman is supposed to say prayers. That is my version of prayers every morning. Okay. And I circle it around my body, north, south, east, west, right? So left, right, front, back, above my head. And I obviously gratitude, I say thank you. If I have one of those issues where I'm having a pain that does not feel like a regular old age pain, then I head to the Akashic Records and I fix that. I clear that. I always try to be clear, not just for readings, but like for healing, because it's now an energy exchange. So if I'm putting in good energy into you, it means I'm taking out your bad energy. But if I'm bad, I'm just putting in bad into you. So I have to always keep in mind that that is what I do, and my systems are good. I have actually canceled sessions with people because I just wasn't feeling well. Energetic.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that pretty much is my day. That is how I stay clear. Do
you have a certain diet that you follow, or do you?
Sometimes. Sometimes I eat really clean. The cleaner you eat, the better it is for you. Yoga, yes, I do yoga. And I have to tell you a little story. My old landlord said to me, I shouldn't do yoga. She's also a Christian. She said it's satanic poses. And she delayed me for 2 years.
She what?
When I say delayed me, because I listened to her, I never did it. I was having back problems and everybody was like, do yoga, do yoga, do yoga.
Oh.
Because I have scoliosis. So I was having back problems. I have tight hips, back problems.
Okay, understood.
She said it's devil poses. And I listened to her instead of doing my own research. I'm saying this because I want people to kind of think about it. Sometimes you have to use your brain. You have to do your research. I finally decided to do yoga. And I am telling you, I don't have issues with the back or with the hips or anything like that. I would get out of bed before and I'm walking like I'm 90 years old. I don't remember his name, but for all the PVC boys, they used to be one of the priests. He used to walk like that. I don't know if you remember this. Like when teenage years, there was a priest.
Yes, he died. He died. Yeah.
Right. He died. I used to walk like that when I would first get off the bed in the morning. Just because like I'm stiff, everything is like, and then it'll take me time and I'll finally get up. I don't do that anymore. So the yoga, it does not necessarily, you don't have to do the breathing. You can do yoga just to stretch your body. You can actually do a little yoga. You won't lose 100 pounds, but if you do it, it does tone you up. It does make you lose a little weight. So I just wanted to put that there. So yeah, one of the things I do is yoga. I am a Gemini ascendant, so it means that I have my brain is constantly thinking. So one of the things that helps me is not meditation. I will have to do active meditation
because your thought is the thoughts. I know I tried meditation and I had to leave it because my thoughts are just
correct. So the trick to that is Gemini, Virgo, people who think a lot.
Yeah, I'm a Virgo.
There you go. So that's what it is. Your brain is constantly going. So the best, you have to tire out the body. By tiring out the body, you get the mind to stay still. And yoga does that.
You're married and you practice spirituality. That's the general term. How did your husband respond to your lifestyle?
I think he accepted it. I feel like he maybe because he lived here for so long, he was a little bit more open to it. I mean, I will admit that I tried everything possible to scare him because I wanted to make sure that the person that I would be married or I would be dating or whatever, they would accept my life, right? It doesn't make sense, trying to build with someone and they're against what you. It's kind of like a pull, right? So so I wanted to make sure that whoever I would date, they would be into what, or not necessarily into it, but at least they would accept it because he doesn't participate in it, but he accepts it and he's kind of like, that's your thing, right? So, it's kind of like the husband who doesn't like makeup, but he's like, well, you feel pretty in makeup, so okay. Right?
So he accepts you, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, he accepts it. He gives me my time. Like right now, he's out there dog sitting. He knows that I'm in here doing this. He accepts it. Does he like me to work on him? No. Does he want to do all of my crystals and I would put like a crystal under his pillow? No, he moves it and he's like, hold your crystal to your side and that type of stuff. Yeah, he's not into it like that. But he accepts it, right? And I feel like people need to accept each other. I think that's all it is.
And that respect is a big
yes, word. Respect, yes. Right? And
did you so you do cards and you do all of that. You met him. Did you see him come in or it just happened? What?
No, I did see him come in, and I myself actually went to get a reading because sometimes you don't believe what you see. You're like, no, it can't be. And so I actually was told he was coming. And I had like a description of him. But then when I would look in my cards, yes, he was, I saw it as well. When I met him, I looked. I'm like, is this the guy really? You know, like that. And it was yes, 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 this is the guy. But I'm like, I try not to live by what the cards, so I kind of let it flow.
Okay.
So even though it was saying it's this guy, I wasn't gonna make sure it was this guy. I was just gonna do my thing, and if it's really this
making
guy,
it happen.
yes, I wasn't
trouble,
making
right?
it happen. Yes.
Yeah, I remember somebody was talking on some talk show once, and the person said that when you try to make things happen, then you're in trouble. Is that so? Yeah.
Yes, because you're actually taking yourself off of the path. You have to just continue on your path, and everything kind of flows. You go to get well, everybody's for different reasons. Some people need some sort of clarity, but when you get that clarity on the reading, that's all it is. It should just be clarity. You shouldn't let the reading mold your life. You see what I'm saying? So when you start doing the whole, well, she said I was going to meet a man in a club, so I'm going to go to a club every Friday night. You know, it may it may not have been that club. It may be a bar, and they just happen to say, you know, tonight we're going to make it into a club. But if you would just go into the bar like you did once a month, then you would know that. But no, you decided to go to the club. And so you're changing your path without realizing you're changing it, because you're trying to do what the cards are telling you to do, or what the reader said you know is going to happen for you. You have to just let it flow. Look, I'm going to tell you, I had a reading when I was in my 20s, and the lady said to me, I wouldn't find love until like late 30s into 40s. And I'm not going to lie, I was hot then. I cursed the lady out and I asked for a refund. I did.
You did that?
Yeah, well, I didn't get my refund back, but but she was right, is what I'm saying. In the ending, she turned out to be right, right? Because
were you practicing at that time?
No, not yet.
Did you go back and find the woman and say, I'm sorry? Now that you know what you know? She said, not until, you know, she said life, you know how they say life begins at 40. She pretty much, she didn't use that term, but she did say that life was not going to happen for me until later on. So love and everything else kind of thing would come later on. So for those of you out there who it hasn't happened yet and you're like, I'm going to need in vitro or whatever, don't worry. It's coming. So, yeah, I feel like if I felt like I wanted to prove that lady wrong. Does that make sense? So I wanted to do my own thing. So in a way, I messed up myself. Trying to make it happen.
I try to make my own thing happen. Like she said, this is going to happen. This is not going to happen for me. I'm going to do this. But I guess in a way, I was still following my path because it didn't work. Either way, it didn't work. So she was right in the ending. Right. So yeah, I would definitely not kind of do what the cards say to do, unless it's something like where you're like, okay, should I take this job or not? Then it's a little different. You know, you go and you say, all right, I have 2 job offers. I want to know if I should take the radio personality or the bank job. And then you're like, okay, I feel at the bank you'll make more money, and I feel like you'll be there long term, whereas I feel at the radio personality, you know, like that. So you still have a choice. It's always your choice. But you can say, okay, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with that. But for the most part, no. If she says you're going to meet this guy and they ain't married, don't force it. Just flow. Life is about flowing.
People who come to you, what do they generally come to you for?
Biggest ones are, I would say love. Many people come for love and finances. Those are the main 2 questions. I think many people want to find love. I mean, love is a beautiful thing. And then many people just kind of want that security. Right. So when it comes to the tarot, yes, that a lot of the times that's what they're looking for.
Wow. No, you deal with energy and everything. We've had an eclipse. We had the Jupiter-Saturn alignment on Monday the 21st. What does that mean to you in what you do and for us in general?
So the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, it's a new beginning. It's a new era. So for the last 200 years, we have been dealing with Earth energy, which is more materialistic. Hello, Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgos. It's a more materialistic energy. And now we're switching over into air. So it's the Aquarius, it's the Gemini, excuse me, type of energy. And so what we're going to be dealing with for the next 200 years is going to be about intelligence, thinking more. So whereas before everybody used to be like into like all these celebrities and, you know, that type of stuff, that's not going to be a thing anymore. Now I'm going to be into, you know, that scientist or that, you know what I mean? Like it's intelligence. It's
Interesting that you say that. Since the whole COVID-19, I was reading a story. They said that there has been more interest in people wanting to become doctors because of Dr. Fauci.
Yes, yes, I love him.
I read that and I was like, and as you say that, I'm like, interesting.
Yes, because that's the era that we're going into. So that is what the Saturn Jupiter conjunction is, because Jupiter expands. It's in Aquarius, and Aquarius is eccentric, but it's also the internet. It's computers. It's in that intelligence. So Jupiter will expand that, and Saturn kind of sometimes, well, he restricts as well, but it will solidify it, like just kind of keep it all in for that 200 years. So we're going to have some changes with the internet. Hello, Facebook.
Good, bad.
So I feel like there will be more restriction on people, and that includes, you know, via the internet and stuff. But what will happen is the people will rebel, because Aquarius can be rebellious, right? The people will rebel. So all of the world leaders and all those people that do come in the next 200 years, we may not be here. They will be for the people, but they will be eccentric, right? Because all the leaders that we have now, Lord, don't have me killed or anything. They're not so much so for the people. They're about, you know, wealth. They're about making money for themselves and, you know, their friends and that type of stuff. So people. So what we're going to have is we will notice, especially next year, we should notice where people are going to kind of, it's like you stand up for yourself. Remember that hippie era where people just kind of did their own thing? It's going to be something like that again. People are going to just kind of want to just be free and just be happy. It's not so much so, yes, of course we need money to survive, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be so money focused and like it used to be. We're about kind of reaching out and 60s, you know, yeah, what was it, 60s, marijuana and just nice and high and just
okay, so all around, a lot of places around they're legalizing it. They decriminalize.
Well, they are. So maybe we are, you know, because I believe the world is a circle, right? So
yes.
So maybe that's what we're getting back into. So it's going to be a lot more like that. People may in the beginning be a little bit more distant. Of course, I feel it has something to do with the COVID thing. But once we get a vaccine, everybody's going to be good, you know. And we're going to also move in. The planets will change into Pisces energy into next year. I think around next year's summer. So when they go into Pisces is very spiritual, but it's very people, you know, caring, sweet, loving. So some of the Pisces going to get some luck too, not just the Aquarians, but it will bring people together again. Okay. So for all of those people who are like, I'm tired of staying home, you know, it's going to come. But first we do the rebellion, you know, we're going to stand up for our rights kind of thing. We want our freedom and we want people who will be good to us. Like before we felt like we didn't have that power. No, we're going to be like, I have the power. Like I'm the one electing you, you know, like that. So a lot of the politicians should come in and they should be
like a revolution.
It is. Aquarius energy is revolution. Okay. But it's for 200 years. So we may be dead and our children's children and that stuff. You know, it's 200 years.
Oh,
so, but it's the beginning. So I think it's a really exciting time to be alive. I know 2020 was not the best year for many people, right? But it's what we don't realize is it's a change. We're experiencing an ending and a new beginning. You know, for those of us who are into it, yes, we know. But for many people, they're not aware that that world ending just happened, like in 2020, and you're in 2021 where you're starting a whole new beginning. Because
So
it's a whole new
is that I stand to put myself in trouble. So is this the end of the world that we've been talking about?
Why
Just
would you
now,
call
it's
me
the
that?
end of the world, and we know it or something like that.
Yeah, I would say, gosh, I don't want to be killed here.
Okay,
But
let's
yeah,
leave that alone.
I would definitely say there's a change. There's going to be, this is the change. We're at the end of an era and we're starting a new era.
Hmm.
That's a nice way of.
Okay, stay safe. All right.
So I think, like, if you're Aquarius, um, especially for the next year, you're going to feel. Oh wait, sorry, let me go back. What you would have noticed is, like, right around the 21st, there was a shift. If you're sensitive to the energy, you would have felt it.
Mm-hmm.
A shift. It was heavy before, and now, like, suddenly there's lightness, and everybody feels
Yes.
a little happier. Like there's hope, and you don't really know, like, where it's coming from, but there's some sort of hope, right? It
I'm
is
weird.
like
I'm
that.
weird like that because like a month or two, I was in this heavy, angry state. And
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I don't like this energy. I went into myself and I started, and then afterwards, it just started to feel lighter and lighter. Then I just said release.
Yes.
And then I started to just get lighter and lighter and happier again, you know?
Yes.
I,
Yes.
whatever, but that's,
Yes,
yeah.
because the energy switched. So all the time the energy was in Capricorn, that's heavier energy. It's more restrictive. It's government energy. It's rules, regulations, it's heavier energy. Like not all of us like to be. But the Aquarius energy is freedom energy.
Mm.
It's being a rebel. So here I am, I'm lighter, I'm freer, I'm happier. So everyone who's Aquarius for the next year, they should have a lot of luck because you do have Jupiter there. So it will bring a lot of expansion for you in your life. So watch out for the weight. But it should bring in opportunities for you. All right. So now is the time to grab the opportunity. The next year, Saturn is going to take over. Saturn stays in a sign for 2.5 years, and it will be in Aquarius. So try to grab all of the opportunities you can as an Aquarius this year, or Aquarius ascendant this year. All right. And then Pluto goes into Aquarius in 2023. So you want to grab everything you can. Jupiter goes into a sign for an entire year, every year. So everybody gets their turn. So Capricorn was having it, but Capricorn also had Saturn. So when Jupiter first went in, you were supposed to grab those opportunities if you were a Capricorn. If you didn't, then no, when Saturn caught up with it, you had problems. So Pisces, like I said, you will have some luck because Jupiter, Aquarius, it does go Pisces and it switches back. So expansion, everybody just thinks like Jupiter is a planet of luck, of expansion, and everybody just always thinks about the luck and all the opportunities that he gives.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to think about the expansion. And I can tell you this because I experienced this myself. We all experienced it, but you probably just didn't pay attention to it. When Jupiter went into my sign, I had the luck. I had all the opportunities. My business boomed. Everything was great. But then I got fatter, and then I just wasn't able to lose the belly weight, no matter what I tried. So just keep that in mind because, it likes nice things. It likes, the sweets, the cheesecakes, and that's Jupiter. It likes really nice things, right?
Oh my gosh.
Tend to eat, things that you don't normally eat, even though you're a person who kind of watches your weight.
Mm-hmm.
For Aries have also been going through a really hard time because of Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn. They're now free. Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, they have just been having like hell. They're freer now. And if also, for those of you who are into astrology, if your ascendant is that, so your ascendant kind of matches up exactly the way a chart is. So it will make sense to you. But you will be a lot more freer now. So you should definitely be feeling happy. Air and fire, they go well.
Well,
So
I'm a Virgo, so what happens?
I'm gonna get to you. I'm going through each sign.
I'm guessing here. I'm like, what the
So
hell's
air,
happening?
and fire goes well. So there's expansion for the Aries. The Aries should also feel lighter. Taurus, you may not be liking it necessarily because Taurus is earth. So that Capricorn energy was more your type of thing. The money, the stability, that was your thing. You also have Uranus in Taurus, and that's the planet of shock and awe. And Taurus hates having shock and awe in their lives. So anything can happen for a Taurus. You can get pregnant, you can get divorced, you can get married. Everything will happen, and everything will happen. Anything can happen, sorry, and everything can happen like just out of the blue. And it will seem as though you're not being your usual Taurus self, because Taurus is very slow, it's slow and steady, like that turtle, that tortoise kind of thing, slow and steady. But with Uranus there, it brings that shock, and everything's happening, like everything just changes, and everybody's like, well, you just met this guy 6 weeks ago. Why are you marrying him? Example, like that. It can happen with Uranus there. Mm-hmm. Gemini, this is a trine for you. Gemini will love this energy. The brain is going to go a lot with the Gemini, but a lot of opportunities will come in because it's a trine. So a trine is a positive thing. Mm-hmm. So when Jupiter is in there, it will bring a lot of not responsibilities, a lot of good things, and especially in spirituality for Geminis. You should notice a lot of anything to do with long distance travel, spirituality, learning new things, new spiritual things. Cancers are another one. They don't really like security, but I know that they're kind of like, okay, I'm done, because the Saturn and Jupiter, they were opposing the Cancer. So everything Cancer tried, it was a block. All right. So now the Cancer is free. You're free to go. Watch out for your money. You may notice because you feel very free, you may spend a little bit more. Please pay attention to your money. The issue, the lesson here for Cancer is to learn. I mean, and they really do know that, but I feel they're going to go a little over for this next year. So it's to learn to manage your debt, manage that. All right. Leos, again, it's like an Aries. It's fire and air. So the Leo is going to definitely love it. Especially for Leo's, relationships will be a thing for them. I feel like a lot of relationships will come in, lots of partnerships. Whoever it is that comes in, very centric, very different. And the Virgos.
Oh Lord.
Finally got to you.
Finally, I'm waiting here, sweating.
So for the Virgos, listen, also your Earth. So you may not have liked that energy, but there's a good but. The air energy is going to kind of push you. You have no choice, right? It's Earth. So think about the mud is dry and now wind is blowing and it just becomes dust, right? So you're going. You have to go. You don't have a choice. It will affect you, especially with your children. All right. It will bring back love into your life. It will bring back creativity into your life. So if you feel like
I'm gonna get me some love.
you feel like that area has been lacking,
Yeah.
and it can bring in children. It's really like, a new child. It can, but sometimes,
Anyway, go ahead.
if you already have children, it's something to do with your kids. Your kids stuff will come up more with kids. Gambling, if Virgos don't tend to do that, but I do know one Virgo who gambles. You should be lucky with that, with gambling as well. Just for the year. Libras are getting a break too. Libras are like, yes, you're getting a break. It's air and it's air, so it's a trine. So a lot of luck coming in for the Libras, especially at home. They may move, they may buy that home that they really wanted after all. It's an expansion in the home, so a baby can come in or a man can come in, or for those who are gay, whoever can come in, what I mean. Scorpios are part of the fixed sign. So in the beginning, yes, Scorpios are going to benefit from the Jupiter, but of course in 2022 they're not going to like it so much. So all the fixed signs are going to have that issue. The Leos, the Scorpios, Aquarius, they're going to have issues with it, not now in 2022. Right, with the opposition and the squares. They're going to have oppositions and squares from Saturn. So Saturn is going to bring some sort of blockage, some sort of difficulty for them. But right now, Jupiter is in your favor and you're doing well. I feel like I'm missing a sign. Sagittarius is Sagittarius. The next year is going to be crazy for you either way, because you've been having eclipses. So even though you're having the fire and the air thing, you're having eclipses in your sign. I forgot to say that too for Gemini. And because you're having eclipses always bring changes for you, no matter what. Even though you're dragging your heels and you're like, I don't want to change, it brings a change. So people will come in, people will leave, or situations come in for you. Things that you really wanted to achieve, you should start noticing like you're on like a fast track to it. And that should have started June for Sagittarius into like all of next year, because that's when the eclipses are. I think like it changes to Cancer like sometime late next year. But anyway, I feel like I'm missing a sign. Did I do Capricorn?
I think.
Yeah, I think I did. Did I do Pisces?
Yes, you did. The only reason why I know is because my dad was a Pisces, and she always reminds me.
Okay. So, and I wanted to say something else just because I don't want anybody thinking I'm crazy. It's okay, I'm crazy, but you know what I mean.
You are so versed in this. I'm sitting here and I'm like, girl. I simply asked you what did the alignment, what the conjunction meant, and I got the horoscope for everything.
So I figured people would want to kind of hear that. That would help you.
Oh my gosh.
I figured, people they do want to know those things. So yeah, so I would just say if you're a fixed sign, right? So the Scorpios and the Leos and Aquarius and Taurus, fixed. They're very difficult people. They don't want to just change like that. You are going to get the luck this year. But 2022, the squares and the opposition comes in. So life gets a little harder for you. So like the Leos, it will be in relationships with jobs and, and just your marriage might start to be a little bit more difficult. So even though, Prince Charming might come in this year, next year, Prince Charming might start to give more problems, or because it could be a positive, because some of us do use the energy in a positive way. Prince Charming might say, listen, I'm tired of just being Prince Charming. I'm ready to be, take it to the next level. Yeah, the king, right? And it goes to that level, right? And the same thing for a job. You might get a job opportunity now, and you're on that probation or something for 6 months, or they have you at one level, and when it goes into the second level, which would be when Saturn goes in there, now you're like, you're up there, you get more pay, but you get more work, and you have to spend more longer hours, like that. Those are just
everything.
Yes,
of course. Something for something. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what the I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, she knows this stuff.
That's what the Saturn conjunction will do for us.
Thank you for viewing Sorana Mitchell Worlds. Please like, comment, or share. I am Sorana Mitchell. Have a good one.